Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Smooth Move podcast. That's a tongue twister, isn't it? This is with I'm Brian Sachs and my co-host and partner Joel Sagner, and we're yourdependablepartner.com. And we bring you the Smooth Move podcast, and really in order to educate about all topics related to seniors, their families, and all the issues that come about as we get older. Um, Today we have with us a very, very special guest. And Arnie Brownstein, I want to welcome you. Say hi to everyone, Arnie.
Hi, everybody.
And let me tell you a little bit about Arnie. We're blessed to have him on our show today. Arnie actually created an industry of move managers in the South Florida area, maybe in the whole Florida area, in the state of Florida. But Arnie is really the godfather of making moves smooth when you are transitioning to a community, whether you're out of state children looking to help your parents, or whether you're the parent themselves and trying to downsize, make a move to the next step community, or in some cases, moving out of state. And this is what Joel and I do at Your Dependable Partner. But much of what we've learned and much of what we do is based on what Arnie Brownstein has done in the past. So without further ado, I want to welcome you, Arnie.
Thank you, Brian. Hi, Joel.
Hi.
Uh, it's funny. I got into this business when I moved my mother-in-law into independent living. And I saw there was a need for people that will move people into independent assisted living, move people around the United States, make it all happen in one smooth, easy transition. When I first started, I realized that the other companies that were doing it were all charging by the hour. And I originated the flat fee system. We give you a price, that's it. You pay for that service, which includes downsizing, packing, moving, unpacking, setting up your telephone, your internet, your cable, changing your driver's licenses, et cetera, et cetera. Just there's no such word as no. Tell me what you need, you get it done. And this is what we did. And I did it for 10 years. And it was a fantastic time. I found that the people you're dealing with, the senior citizens, of which I'm one at this point, love the idea that they can depend on you to handle everything. They don't have to think about it. The kids don't have to think about it. The greatest thing back then, we were using Skype naturally years ago, and I would be able to Skype with the kids, which are all around the country, to keep them in the loop while we're doing the actual setup, planning, and move for this relocation.
Arnie, I'll just tell you that, and Joelle will talk to her experience. We've both been there, done that as children. So this is very personal to both of us. We've been through it, and you almost feel like, oh my God, here's an elephant. I have to eat this entire elephant, 50, 60 years worth of stuff. And it's daunting. I know it's daunting to the folks making the actual move themselves, right? But it's daunting to the children as well. And oftentimes we find they don't even know where to start. They just look at it and go, holy cow. Joelle, you could talk to your experience.
Yeah, I mean, I did it with my grandmothers and my parents, and I still remember, I mean, I was obviously a lot younger, but when my grandmother passed, she would hide stuff, and everything was in a bag, in a box, in another bag. We had to take everything apart, look in every pocket. And I mean, I remember being in her place for hours trying to clean it out. And then, of course, I did the same thing with my parents. I recently moved to Florida like 2 years ago. I guess it's not so recent anymore, to come here and help my parents. So they moved, I moved, and I had another sibling that moved. So all of us were downsizing at the same time. It was just, it's so overwhelming and so exhausting. If I had somebody I could have hired to do it, I would have been thrilled. I mean, in my parents' instance, they had a mover who's a great guy, and he packed them, but I mean, he packed everything, garbage, expired food. I mean, just stuff I can't even believe that got moved. So when I got here, I had to then sift through everything all over again. So, it's hard, and I think that's what some people just opt to, is just, here's what I'm taking, put it in the truck, and I'll worry about the rest later, or.
A lot of people, Joel, don't realize, I know I didn't. I didn't realize that I had the ability to not hire a mover per se,
Right.
because I mean, any big person can move things, right? There's no science to that. The science comes in making sure that you are appropriately divvying up whatever some of the children out of state want, whatever needs to go to an auctioneer,
Mhm.
whatever is actually going to fit
Right.
to the new apartment. And that's the big key. And so, I just I moved to Florida with a chandelier from my mother's house and stuff from my mother's house that I just couldn't mentally disconnect from. And she's been gone 12 years.
I know. I get
Right?
it. I
Like,
still keep cleaning things out.
I thought I was going to get cursed from the grave or something for getting rid of these things. So, I wish I had known there was an Arnie Brownstein and a yourdependablepartner.com. That's what I'm saying, folks. We're doing
Yep.
this. Of course, this is our business, but it's much more than that. It's personal. So, Arnie, give us some tips. You know, what should people be thinking about?
Well, the first thing is when I would go in to meet a client and I'd find out where they were moving. And normally, by the end of the first year, I knew just about every layout in every apartment in every complex. My analogy was you draw a scaled drawing of the apartment so you can scale the furniture that they already have on to that drawing. So you know exactly what's going to fit, what's not going to fit. And the analogy was take a gallon of water and pour it into a quart bottle. And when it starts to overflow, that's what you can't take with you. You can only fit the quart bottle from that gallon that you have in your existing house. It worked very well. And as the funny thing is, as you're packing, I think I have one funny story that I moved somebody from Delray Beach down to Boca Raton from a two-bedroom apartment into a one-bedroom apartment. And we packed up her linen closet. And when we got down and we were unpacking the boxes from the linen closet, there was an old shower curtain.
Mhm.
And we got into a discussion with the client. She's saying, that's not mine. Saying, well, yeah, it probably is from 30, 40 years ago, sitting in the back of your linen closet. But that's the one thing that always hits me, that how many items are in that back of that linen closet or in any closet that the clients don't even know about, that's up on the top shelf in their clothes closet that they don't even realize they've had for 20, 30, 40 years. It's also about that other point. It's when you are finished with a relocation and you've done everything that had to be done. The TVs are hooked up, things are hung on the wall, the pictures are hung on the wall, and you're ready to walk out that door. You know that that person is happy, that they can live that way. And as you said, the kids can't be there. The kids have to work. And it was very, very rare, except for the Skype calls, that the kids saw exactly what was going on. So it is very important that your dependable partner is taking care of that client from start to finish, from the day you first meet them till the day that you're walking out the door and they're giving you that final check because you've done your work the way it should be done.
Yeah, Arnie, it's interesting with you're talking about, what can fit in and that downsizing thing. And it's really hard for people to let go of stuff. Have you found that when you were doing it, that because it wasn't their children telling them they had to not take something and it was you, a third party, was it a little easier on both the person moving and the kids to be able to do that sorting and downsizing?
Definitely. Well, one of the first things you're going to ask is what keepsakes do you want shipped to the family?
Hmm.
And we had multiple ways of doing it for small items. UPS, FedEx, we would box it. We would take it to FedEx or UPS. If there were numerous boxes, we had 32 boxes to ship from Boca Raton to Los Angeles.
Oh,
And uh, I think it was FedEx, come to the house, pick up all 32 boxes. They loaded them on their own truck and took it away. If it's large items, we have the interstate movers that will move the items from one place to another. And there's always going to be that one thing that, again, let's go back to another story. Boynton Beach, we had a baby grand piano that nobody wanted to buy locally. I called all the piano stores. So I spoke to our auctioneer, and he said, I can't move pianos. I said, you're going to do this for me because of all the business I give you. You're going to sell this piano. And $3,500 later, he sold the piano.
wow.
So, yeah. Just make things happen and make sure that whatever has to go to the kids or to whoever it goes. And I was very good at explaining to the people, it can't fit. You just can't put it in. And if you try to overstage your apartment, try to bring in every bit of stuff, and you can't walk in your apartment. If it's an independent living facility, they will not let you do that. You have to have 3 feet ADA accessibility throughout the apartment.
Sure. They don't want
And
anybody to fall.
yeah,
You know,
it's always the first thing in your mind.
I'll tell you what's so interesting is, and Joel, I bet you had the same experience. What my mother and father considered important and valuable,
Mhm.
like their china set, like various pieces of artwork, um, urns, vases, all sorts of things that they thought would, like the chandelier I moved to Florida with, they thought were so important and everybody would want. Nobody wants it. We didn't want it. Our children don't want it. Most likely, my grandchildren won't want it. And so, getting rid of many of these things and liquidating them, it's often an obstacle because mentally they have the actual senior who's moving to a community really thinks that, a child or nieces, nephews, that this is valuable stuff and they want it, and they honestly don't. The bigger problem, Marty, the beautiful thing about Florida, there's no basements because I'm going to tell you, it's ugly. I had a 3,000 square foot house in Baltimore with a full basement. And when I say full, it was full. So, I mean, that's one of the blessings. But something we haven't talked about that we shouldn't gloss over. When people are moving into a community, there's an emotional issue. Of course, you're making a big change and you're making a big change in life, right? That's part of this. And the more settled in you can get that first day with familiar surroundings and no chores to wait. You wake up, just figure out where the cafeteria is and have your breakfast to get rid of some of that mental baggage, if you will, is so important. And that's, I know, something you prided yourself in. I know you've really made it very clear, and it's something that Joelle and I pride ourselves in, that when that person moves into the community, they're settled, they're done. And it helps, of course, it helps the physical side, right? But it also helps the emotional side. Um, the more familiar and comfortable they are, I think, the better. How you feel about that, Arnie?
I agree. One of the things I would do before we actually move the client in was take the client to their community and introduce them to clients that I've already moved into the community to make them feel at home, make like they have their family set up already of their neighbors.
Mhm.
Very important. And they need to know every aspect of that community. The salespeople take them around, but the salespeople are most interested in selling that unit to them or renting the unit to them, depending on what they're moving into. It's that other half, and knowing that you have that support of new friends when you move in. So it's a phone call away if you're not feeling comfortable. It was the idea of, I always put my arm around my client and made them feel like I was family. And they knew they could count on me. And I always said to the clients, you ever need anything, pick up the phone and call me. If I can help you with it, I'm more than happy to. And naturally, there's no extra charge. I used to take clients to get new furniture when they needed it, if they didn't have a way to get there, and help them with getting furniture. It's just those little items that you do, but you've got to make them feel so at home that first night that they're sleeping there. Utmost of importance.
Yep, agreed. It's a big change. It's always a change when you're moving from one place to another, but going from your own living environment to a community is a very big change in many ways for people. Arnie, we talked a lot about some of the things that you do or that you did to make this work so well for everybody. But I know those are like the hard things, right? We pack, you unpack, you do the floor plan, you mark all the boxes, we make sure nothing is missing, we have a list of everything that's going. But what are some of those softer things that people don't think about that also have to be done that we here at Your Dependable Partner do and you also used to do?
Oh, let's take their medicine. They're working with CVS, Walgreens, or whoever. Now you've got to change the pharmacies.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody thinks about that.
Right. That's why I've asked this question because these are really important things that people don't think about. And then you think they're comfortable, but you've got the medicines and then you're going to tell us about all the other things too.
Back in when I was first starting, I would move people up from Miami up to Boca Raton, let's say, and I would tell them, you can keep your phone number.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd say, how can I keep a 305 phone number if I'm moving into 561? I said, there are ways to do that, and I will take care of it for you. AT&T and Verizon had a little box that you would plug a phone into, and you can move one number from any number anywhere in the United States. So even when we moved people out of state, it was that same thing. And it was again, even people with their cell phones,
Mm-hmm.
teaching seniors how to use their cell phones and what the cell phones could do, and hooking up their computers and cleaning up their computers so that they know it's working well in their new place. The list is so long, and all of a sudden you'd have something that will pop up in front of you. For instance, they had a car. They're not going to use the car anymore. They want to sell the car. Facebook was the greatest place to sell cars. I sold more cars for my clients on Facebook than I could think about. There are, again, so many things that nobody thinks about that you have to do. changing their mail.
Mhm.
The one thing I wasn't able to do was change their Social Security, but I get them on the phone with Social Security because I couldn't do that. They
Right.
could do their driver's license, their voter's registration. This is all done online while you're sitting in the apartment on the last day. And naturally, like I had said, telephone, internet, cable, that's all arranged for them without them having to think about it.
That's a big deal.
Oh, definitely.
It's a really
Uh,
big deal.
yeah, going to Comcast and getting their equipment and hooking it up for them so they don't have to go there. And back then, we'd have to sit in lines for an hour waiting to get taken care of instead of the way it is now. The Comcast made that change.
Right.
I'm very happy for everybody that has to deal with it now rather than what we used to have to deal with before.
You know, what this really keeps driving home is either yourdependablepartner.com is going to do this, or a child is going to come in from out of state, spend a week or two or three, and do it. And really, if you're from out of state, you may not be able to navigate around here so easily. You don't know who's who and what's what, right?
Right.
Whereas Joelle and I, and your dependable partner, we have our team in place. They're tested, they're proven, they know what they're doing, and we have the resources. So, you know, I know, Arnie, I can talk to you for hours. I know Joelle can too, but we kind of have to wrap it up a little bit. And what parting words can you give us? What parting words of wisdom?
I will say this. Since I've met Brian and Joelle, these are sincere, loving people that want to do good by their clients. And I have full confidence that that's what they will do. And look at yourdependablepartner.com, read all about them. You'll love what their philosophy is in relocating seniors.
Okay.
Thank you,
Joelle,
Arnie.
you want to wrap us up? Thank you, Arnie.
Yeah, well, if you need to get in touch with us, we would love to work with you. And of course, we can give you some free quotes and information. We are at yourdependablepartner.com. You can reach me at Joelle at yourdependablepartner.com. Brian?
You can reach me at Brian at yourdependablepartner.com. And if you go to yourdependablepartner.com, we have lots of free information there, lots of free resources. There's no cost to give you a quote. We're happy to meet with you and show you what we're all about and see if it's a good fit. Arnie, thank you so much for being with us. And we'll be back again with another episode of Your Smooth Move with yourdependablepartners.com.